reference has been made tonight of the hatred of discrimination, whether it be by class or gender. Given that this is actually a Christian country with respect for those who do and don't have faith, what is your view of the extent to which equality laws are being used to silence freedom of speech and marginalisation of those who actually try to live by, particularly their Christian faith?
So, if I think the question was saying, what are your views about the impact of equality laws and the potential for them to stifle free debate about matters relating to beliefs and and morals?
Right.
Thank you.
Do you know, I'm probably going to need to have an example here, because I can't think, I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Well, I'll give you one example. For example, those who believe that marriage is only right for between a man and a woman, people who say that, that is their belief, they're getting marginalised and we get penalised by employers and by courts.
Right, okay, now I kind of understand where you're going with this.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
Yeah, thank you, now I understand where you're going with this. I think you're wrong. I don't think people are being marginalised for those views. I think quite rightly, those views are being challenged. You know, I want to live in a country where we are respected equally. You know, what I don't want is this sort of hierarchy of who belongs where and who should go where. You know, I really don't think, you know, I'm not sure where your evidence of sort of being marginalised is. Because
the court cases.
The court cases, well, but what those court cases are doing, they are tackling discrimination. That's what they're doing. And you know, so what do you think? I mean, I'm going to ask that. This is interesting to me.
Let's
okay, sorry.
hear what all the candidates have to hear, because that's what I was to say, because that's what the nature of this discussion is.
I don't think there is. I don't think Christian values are being threatened at all in this country.
Thank you for that.
I think the importance of protection of religious rights works only when they're applied equally. But the problem with applying, saying this court case and that court case is each individual set cases will be determined by a single judge on different sets of circumstances, with an underpinning that all religions are considered to be equal and will have the same airtime, if you want, within an open society. And I do think on a wider point, I want to live in a country where there is free and open and frank debate. And to allow that at times, yes, some people will sometimes be offended, and I take that point. But the key is when you feel you're stifled. And I think that relying on one or two court cases saying that the entire of Christendom and the entire of the United Kingdom is stifled perhaps might not be justification enough. And beyond that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yes, I understand your concerns. While I'm not religious myself, the extension of laws about same-sex marriage has clearly managed to offend a great number of people who have strong religious convictions. I fear that some of the motives for this are in fact very mundane indeed. Parliament wanted to distract our attentions from real economic problems, and rather than debating the economic mess into which Labour had got us into, and the Conservatives and the Lib Dems were digging us into deeper, they decided to make gay marriage the central issue. Civil partnerships seem to do virtually everything anyway, and a few changes to pension laws could well have accomplished what was needed. So we saw a typical Lib Lapcon smoke and mirrors trip over here, I'm afraid. As to the freedom to offend, I would have said it should be protected to some extent, provided the offence is mild. The freedom to be offended cannot simply be override everything else. Tony Blair introduced this and got Cherie a lot of work on its back. Exactly.
Len, thank you now.
Well, in my campaigning role as a trade unionist and a socialist, I'm used to dealing with and responding to discrimination and arguing against bigotry and ensuring employers adopt policies based on respect. And I think people of different faiths should respect each other. And we should all respect our right to marry and partner and live with who we wish.
We're a party of equality. The law is an ass. Equality law in this country is strong, and I'm glad that it is that way. I have had communication with constituents though that are upset about how certain changes were made in the last 5 years and how their current MP engaged with them on those changes, and they feel disaffected because of it. I think their political representation didn't communicate well enough with them, and I think that's a shame.
Thank you very much. And finally on this one, I think, Anne.
Liberal Democrats are against any kind of discrimination. We think people should be treated equally, whatever their sexual orientation, their gender, their race. But obviously we've got to have respect for people's religion, and different religions have different moral viewpoints. But I think we need tolerance of religion, and I think sometimes that has been lacking. But I think we've got to treat everybody equally.